Okay, let's take a look at the problems on slide 54. Number 4, it says the physician orders Biaxin 7.5 milligrams per kilogram every 12 hours. If the drug strength is 250 milligrams per 5 milliliters, how many milliliters of this antibiotic drug should be administered to a patient who weighs 154 pounds? And I am asked to calculate the milliliters. Okay, so I have a little bit of everything here, but let's start with what the number that I'm given first. I have 7.5 milligrams per kilogram, and I want to go all the way to milliliters. 7.5 milligrams per kilogram. Okay, well, I cannot really use this to convert to milliliters directly because this is it's a unit of mass, whereas milliliter is the unit of volume. But what I have is a density over here, milligrams per milliliter. So I can use this as a density to convert it to liters, or milliliters, I'm sorry. So I have to obviously write this in such a way so I know that 250 milligrams is equal to 5 milliliters, or 5 milliliters to 250 milligrams. I want my milligrams to cancel, and I want milliliters on top, and so I need to write this as 250 milligrams at the bottom and 5 milliliters at the top. My milligrams will cancel, which leaves me with milliliters over kilograms. However, I'm just asked to figure out milliliters instead of milliliters per kilogram. So I need to get rid of this kilogram. Well, what do I know? I know that I can convert this kilograms that I have, this unit, to pounds by using this conversion factor. I want my kilograms on top so they cancel my kilograms at the bottom. So 1 kilogram has 2.2 pounds. So my kilograms will cancel, leaving me with with milliliters on top over pounds as units. But I don't want pounds, I want milliliters, period. I don't want any pounds. But what am I given? I'm given the mass of the patient, 154 pounds, which will cancel. So if I multiply it by 104 pounds, 54, I'm sorry, pounds, will give me the total milliliters that I need to administer to this person. So I'm not as concerned about numbers right now as I am by the unit. I canceled my milligrams, I canceled my kilograms, and I canceled my pounds. You can think of this as 154 over 1. And all I have left is milliliters, which is what I needed. So if you do this calculation, it should come to 10.5 milliliters. And this is the amount that I need to give every 12 hours. Now, it doesn't say anything about the whole day. It just says every 12 hours. So I need to administer 10.5 milliliters every 12 hours to this particular patient. Now, if the patient weighed differently, if it was 175, for example, then I'd multiply it by 175, and I'd have a different dose here. So this is dependent on the mass of the patient. And that is why, depending on what they weigh, this will be different. And now, if I were to express this in terms of the units or significant digits that I have here, I would use these numbers here. These are my conversion factors. This is anyway. And so 5 milliliters would be the least, the number that has the least. So this would be 10. With one significant digit. Now, when I'm doing these in the field, this would have to be a little more exact than just 10. But it will also depend, as I said, on the weight of the person. So this is my answer to this question. Now let's look at question 5, the last one. A doctor's order is 10 milligrams every 4 hours of codeine sulfate for pain. So 10 milligrams every 4 hours. The strength of the codeine sulfate is 15 milligrams over 5 milliliters. How many milliliters of this drug will you administer to the patient in 1 day? So how many milliliters per day? Here we just wanted milliliters. Here we wanted milliliters per day. So let's start with what we're given. We're given 10 milligrams every 4 hours. And I'm going to kind of erase this so I have room. But that's what we're given. So I have 10 milligrams every 4 hours. Now I want to convert that to a day. So let's convert the hours to a day first. I want to have day at the bottom, so milliliters per day. So 1 day has 24 hours. We know that. My hours here will cancel. Now I have milligrams per day, but I don't want milligrams per day. I want milliliters per day. So I need to use this density to convert it to the correct unit. Now, because it's got milliliters on the bottom, I can't, and milligrams at the top, if I write it the way it is, I'll have milligrams squared over milliliters instead of milliliters per day. So I need to flip this where I have milligrams at the bottom so that they cancel, and milliliters at the top. This is 15, and this is 5. My milligrams here will cancel with my milligrams here. If you do all of this calculation, you should get 20 milliliters per day. So I'm left, after I canceled everything out, I'm left with milliliters per day, and that is what I needed. So this particular person is getting 20 milliliters per day of this drug. We could have, if we didn't need per day, we could have stopped at just milliliters every 4 hours. But because it wanted us to calculate it in milliliters per day, we had to convert that hours to days as well. Okay, this concludes the problems for Chapter 1 lecture. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them.